Well, I seen a video where a person with whom I personally spoke in a video, then when he saw this video was controversial, I said some things that go against the grain of what people or YouTubers want if they post on their channel. Well, he didn't speak to me anymore, and we haven't done any other videos. Well, there was a controversial video about fat shaming. Well, is there a linguistic shaming? I mean, mm, some people started their languages on the right foot, and for them everything is easy. Some people are just not interested in languages, and when you are subconsciously not interested and you don't have a good teacher, I'm sorry, I am one of those people who can teach languages to even people who think they don't have a knack for them. But when they don't have good teachers and they have been encountering problems in their language learning, they develop a feeling they're not adequate and they're not really able to learn languages, and there's a fulfilling prophecy. But if you shame them, the system, you make them look stupid because they don't know languages. Because you're not a stupid person because you don't speak English. Even if you've been learning for years, you were just not exposed to the right teaching and to the language. And it's not true that learning hello and how you doing is wrong, because I know one thing or two about languages, and the first thing is that it's extreme colloquialism are not the first thing you should learn, because learn foreign people and don't expect you to use come butta or other things. Come butta is how life's treating you, how's things, what's up. So it's good that you learn hello and hi, because it's not true, is it? I always use hello and hi, and I have access to spoken language, and I still say salve and ciao in Italian, rather come ti va, or other very colloquial ways to say that. So I do not agree with this. The system is flawed. Yes, the system doesn't work. But I see, and I still think, that if people do not learn English, is because, however much they say it's very useful for your job, in real life there are most of the jobs do not involve using English in the way this person thinks it should be used, like colloquialism, real life language, because when you send emails for your work and your job, whatever, you don't say what's up, you don't say how you're doing. So the language is geared towards the use you make of it. And the use is formal, the language is formal. And by the way, saying hello and hi, it's not formal. So shaming Italians because they don't speak English is rather, I don't find it constructive, and I don't find it the way to go, not even intelligent. Videos, as I said in another video, I try to be myself. I have my arms akimbo, I touch my nose, I sometimes clear my throat. Is it what people say you should do? Probably not. There is a certain degree of things that you shouldn't do, but in the long run, being yourself works, and being exaggerated makes you get a lot of hits, but a lot of people who are watching you think, well, he's stupid. And why should I be considered stupid and doing things on purpose that make many people think I'm stupid? No, I don't do that. I'm just myself. And I surely, when I speak to my friends, I don't do. Why do people don't speak English? I don't speak like that. I speak in another way. I speak like a common person. So, getting back to the subject at hand, shaming other people for not being able to speak other languages is not fair, because many times I'm not able to do maths on a high level. Should I be shamed by another video where somebody comes out and said, "Aha, Italians cannot do math"? Maybe it's possible. Maybe the system doesn't push people to learn mathematics. Believe you me, if the society is structured in a way that you cannot get away with not being able to learn mathematics or English, you would do that. Speaking about other countries, I think sometimes it overstated that everybody in Germany, all the children in Germany are on a higher level, so much higher. Italians tend to overestimate other people's abilities and underestimate Italians' abilities to speak languages. If you give data, 80% of people, you should say where you get the data, and even if you get the data, you have the origin. We should doubt everything, even credibility of the source. So life is not black and white. There are all shades and gray, and if you want to have an interesting video, you should get to the bottom of it. And even the assumption, and when you speak another language, you speak English, so we should say to the bottom, is it fair? Is it fair? The English is international language. Is it easy? People don't understand it. I have problems because actually English is quite difficult. And for example, for the time being, yes, sometimes I do teach the language, but nowadays I'm not. I don't have vested interest in it, so I can express my opinion as not to say, well, I said before I was a good teacher, but and I am, well, partially. Tell you the truth, I'm not that able to teach people who don't have a real interest in teaching languages, so I wouldn't provide a false service just because they pay me. So the whole learning languages attitude of teachers is not. Sometimes they are much too condescending. Sometimes, in this case, in this video, not patronizing. He's deriding what. Should we speak about the amount of English-speaking people who really learn a language? If you speak about the situation, you should say, if only they made effort to learn French, they learn other languages, people would have the freedom to learn other languages rather than just English. You said, why don't we have just one international language? Well, I know people are going to have fun at what I'm about to say. There is, it's called Esperanto, it works perfectly. I know it's not so widespread as an international language should be, but is, I think, 1,000 more common and spread than you think it is. Nothing as common as English, but for one time let's just do the thing is more logical and rational, just what is more useful in the long run. Well, we always have changes. We moved from CD to other digital ways of storing data, and we moved from cassettes and records to CDs. Why don't we do that for languages for one time? It never happened. Well, it doesn't mean anything. That's a long speech, and it's good that I'm doing that in English, because it's not like I dislike English, like ukulele players say, oh, I don't like the guitar because this is complex inferiority or superiority at the same time. I think it works. In the meantime, you can obviously learn the English you need. English is such a rich language that it will take really years and years to be able to read a book without looking up words in a dictionary. It's such a rich language, but not sometimes in a not good way. Many Latin roots, many, and the rest are Anglo-Saxon with all other roots from the languages they encounter in their empire, British Empire. So the gist of this is, it's a video. It's done to make waves. It's done because this is the way it goes on the internet. But if you look into it, not much meat, not much food for thought, not much analyzing the situation. Not that I've done in this video, just a Socratic way. I'm asking questions, and then it takes time, it takes research, it takes language knowledge, it takes social knowledge, it takes psychological knowledge to understand why people do not learn English the way you think they should. And the other question is it that bad? Not that isn't maybe and we maybe the fair amount of people will know English according to the level of exchange with foreign people. What kind of society do we want? Do we want a global society, or a society where still nations still live with their languages? I met people who lived in Japan, and Japan is a more successful country than Italy, and they said to me more than one, I should check, but I tell you, that English is not widespread. Very few people know English, but they still live, prosper. It's not a third world country, and most of the people don't speak English. Should everybody be fluent? And I mean, if I get away with it in my job, with this, you say scholastico, English scholastico, let's say school learned English, learned at school, English learned at school, if you get away with it, and there's no social pressure, there's no shaming, there's no, and you have other interests, you like other things. Maybe at school, in school I should be taught by teachers like me, who know sounds, who take the time and try to make them understand individually. And I would say, well, let's have public schools with more motivated teachers, and rather than shaming people. I should be ashamed because I don't remember my Latin or Greek that I did for 4, 5, 6 years. I should shame because I don't remember history, geography. Just because our brain works like that. If something doesn't, you don't feel that's important for you subconsciously, and you don't use every day, our brain wipes this slate clean. I mean, delete data that are not useful. And maybe in this society, speaking fluently with an English accent, using the colloquialism you speak about, is not what is called for. Just ask yourselves questions. Be a free mind. Don't go with the obvious. Reality is deeper. And obviously, if people know English, it would be better. Well, if people knew science, it would be better. If people ate healthy food, it would be better. There are priorities. Okay? When people are convinced that something's really important because they really need it, believe you me, the moment you get fired, to use a colloquialism and not dismissed, the moment you get fired or axed because you don't speak English and you want to get a job and there are tests that involve having an acceptable accent and level of understanding, believe you me, the level would be higher, but just for the people who need that for their job. You will never have a high level of English if you sell vegetables, even if you sell in the center. You get away with knowing numbers, basic English, and the name of the vegetables. You're not supposed to have conversations with your foreign clients and tell you something. A lot of people who speak English speak your English. They are like you. They are not native speakers. So I don't condone being lazy. I don't condone do things in a sloppy way. But I don't condone shaming people when you don't delve into it, and that's it. Just because you're good. Okay? I have the same problems with ukulele. I said a lot of people don't play the ukulele well, and that's the same thing as basic English. But these are people are fanatic about the ukulele. People who speak the whole time about the ukulele, and people think they're learning music, and they chose to do that. And I say, if you're amateur, you're supposed to do better than that, I think. Goodbye.